In the music fraternity, we always joke that we need to propitiate what we call the Maikasura before we begin. I hope today's mic is not actually an asura. Gurave sarvalokanam bhavaroginam nidhaye sarvavidyanam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Srimannarayana 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 Srimannarayanani Shripadame Sharanu Srimannarayana Srimannarayana Srimannarayanani Shripadame Sharanu 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 Kamala Sati Mukha Kamala Kamala Hita Kamala Priya Kamalekshana Kamala Sati Mukha Kamala Kamala Hita Kamala Priya Kamalekshana Kamala Srimannarayana Srimannarayana Srimannarayanani Shripadame Sharanu Sharanu Paramayogi Jana Bhagadeya Shri Padama Purusha Paratpara Paramayogi Jana Bhagadeya Shri Padama Purusha Paratpara Paramayogi Jana Bhagadeya Shri Padama Purusha Paratpara श्रीमन्नारायण श्रीमन्नारायणनि श्रीपादमे शरणु 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 Thank you for being here this evening. One of the first lessons that my father taught me when I was young and starting out to speak in public was that a good speech should either make one laugh or cry. And today, as I reflect upon my own life, I'm glad I might not be able to make everyone laugh, and I'm afraid my story is not exactly a tearjerker either, but I do hope to speak from the heart, and that is why I do not have with me slides, PowerPoint presentations, computers, and the like. I also thought that I should speak about the journey, the choices, the dilemmas of an average person with average to above average talent, capability and intelligence, because the choices of the masters, the choices of a genius are never really one that can be analyzed or dissected, or one cannot say much about the choices of a genius, simply put. And in that sense, I speak from a point of view of honesty, because I do not claim to be a prodigy or a genius of any sort. I just happen to be a lucky person simply because God blessed me with a small amount of talent, and I'm super fortunate to have been born into a family that actually honed said talent into something that was worth showing the world. And therefore today I'm basically a performing artist, so I would not like to launch off into a long and painful speech or a soliloquy. But I would like to share a few thoughts that keep coming to my head when I think about myself as an artist, myself as an individual, myself as a young woman of today's generation. And the few thoughts that we constantly think about, the few dilemmas that I constantly tussle with are: A, what position does a performer or the performing arts enjoy in today's world? 75 or 100 years ago, it was a different story. Artists were considered the jewels or the diamonds of society. They were celebrated, they were recognized, they were supported by royalty, everyone admired an artist for various different reasons, and therefore the patronage enjoyed by an artist was of a different level altogether. Today, as a young woman or a young man stands at the threshold of life, even if he happens to have a bunch of talent or a great deal of passion, it is always a major decision whether or not to be a full-time performing artist, simply because it is very difficult to reconcile the aspirations of a modern life with the reality of a performing career. When I say the reality of a performing career, I can speak for myself. I went to law school. I was lucky that I did well in law school. And today, when I meet my friends, they're all discussing how they managed to buy their second apartment, their third car, and their EMIs, their cholesterol levels also, unfortunately, expanding waistlines, receding hairlines and stuff. But the grass is indeed always greener on the other side, and they're pretty envious of my performing career because it lets me travel across the world. I meet interesting people. They actually call us to speak to them. Whereas my law friends are only called to firefight and troubleshoot. Be that as it may, a career in the performing arts has not been easy, is not going to be easy. It is never easy. I'm still lucky because I have a family that supports me like a rock. But for the average individual, it's a very tough call. So what does one actually get from a career in the performing arts? A great deal of satisfaction, and I had shared this story earlier and I would share it again. A lot of responsibilities, because I was about 18 or 20 years old when I was invited to a fundraising concert at Guntur. And I was not aware of the fact that it was a fundraiser for a temple, a proposed temple for Tyagaraja Swami. And halfway through the performance, the organizers came up to me and said, "Can you please announce that the funds raised through these concerts are going to be used to build a temple for Tyagaraja?" And I was 18 or 20. It didn't really hit me as a very serious thing. It was more of an obligation towards the organizers. I said, fine. And I announced. As it turned out, the performance struck a chord with one lady in the auditorium. She was an elderly lady who was at that time in a dilemma. She had a house and she was trying to figure out whom to bequeath that house to. And when I made this announcement, somehow some chord was touched. She felt like it was a signal from the divine, and she decided to donate her house to this noble cause. At that time, she came up to me. She said, "I've decided, you said so, and so I'm donating this house to this cause." At that point of time, it didn't really strike me as much, honestly. 3 or 4 months later, they invited me again. She had donated her house to the cause, and the house was being knocked down. And for the first and possibly last time in my life, I actually saw a person smile and beam so broadly when her own house was being knocked down. A couple of weeks ago, there was a minor demolition in my street and I was hyperventilating because I thought our home was going to fall on our head. But, well, that was the impact not of the artist, but of the art. Many little things like that come our way. And in the process of actually living this life of an artist, I now realize that I've had to grow up rather fast, because these experiences, these joys, these little pleasures that one gets are not something that the average 20 or 25 or 30-year-old will possibly relish and understand the depth of. But I have had a chance to actually understand and to actually impact people's lives in a very subtle but significant way. And for that, I'm extremely grateful. What it takes from the family. I probably sound very sentimental when I say this, but I now realize this because I'm now a teacher. I hate to use the word guru because I think a guru is a very lofty concept. In fact, the Shastras talk about 14 different qualities that a guru should possess, and I'm afraid I don't possess any of those, at least in that measure. My mother's laughing. But yes. So I consider myself an art educator in a small way. But when I teach, I see my students, I see the parents of my students, and I now realize how fortunate I was. And I'm not really in a position to urge parents and grandparents to be a particular kind of parent or grandparent, but I can definitely say that any successful individual cannot make even a tiny mark in the world without the support of the family. Especially, a journey in the arts can potentially be extremely lonely. It is fraught with not just difficulties but a lot of uncertainty, especially in your youth, in your 20s, when you see your friends, like I said, discuss EMIs and apartments, and you're still trying to figure out with Sabha you can actually get an opportunity, how to actually get your little toe in that door. It's a very difficult and a very lonely journey, and it is extremely, extremely, extremely important that the family backs the artist. In that sense, I cannot boast, but I can just be grateful, because my family is not one of artists, just a very loving family, I guess, which just ended up supporting their children no matter what they do. And with the result, today we are a hybrid family. My father is a management consultant. My mother used to teach English literature. She quit her career to support me. I'm an artist. My brother is an economist. his wife is a historian, and my husband's a politician. So we have pretty much every profession in our family except the average software engineers, no lawyers, no doctors. But yes, so it takes a great deal of courage to actually be this hybrid hodgepodge family. But I'm extremely grateful that I have gotten this opportunity to live a very interesting life and make an impact, like I said, in a very aesthetic, in a very beautiful way. The arts have given me everything that I have today, not in terms of material possessions, if I may, but in terms of the affection that I enjoy, in terms of the goodwill that I enjoy, in terms of the positivity that I think I can sometimes bring to people's lives, the positivity that I experience myself. And this is something that I always urge the younger generation. It is a rather saddening phenomenon that I see these days, like we discuss at home. Earlier, maybe 30, 40 years ago, it was mandatory for every girl or every boy to start learning something. Carnatic music, Bharatanatyam, Shlokam, Vedam, something to do with Indian culture. They always learned. Some continued, some discontinued. And today, the situation is turned on its head. Very few begin, but everyone discontinues. And that is extremely saddening. What is even more saddening is when I find parents, the same parents that actually drag their children to class kicking and screaming when they're 8 and 10, they turn around at 14 and 15 and say, no, that's enough now. You've learned it. You've got to concentrate on 10th standard, board exams, pre-boards, this and that, enough singing, enough of dancing. Which, in my opinion, is rather sad, because the fine arts are not something that people can enjoy. It's not Bollywood. So it's not something you actually make a connect with in a month or two. It takes that time. It takes 5 years, 6 years, 8 years of interacting with the art to actually be able to understand it and enjoy it in every which way. It is rather cruel to see people being torn away from the fine arts just at a time when they are actually starting to relate to it in a more meaningful way. And therefore, it's my wish and hope to see a society where children are actually in a position to continue a relationship with the arts in any which way. Not everyone needs to turn professional, not everyone needs to do it full time, but I can say for sure that a relationship with the arts is definitely a great soothing factor for the soul. It is not something that children or young adults understand at that point, but among the 100 or 200 things that parents do for their children, if they could actually give them this little corpus of art upon which they can lean upon in their autumn years, I think that is a great service that parents can actually do for their children, because we give them an education, we take care of their careers, we give them wealth, we take care of their future, we give them art, we take care of their happiness. And that is something I think is really lacking, because I see people come back to me, people almost double my age sometimes come and say, I'm feeling empty inside, I want to learn music, I want to learn dance. And at that time, I'm actually frightened, because if you're carrying a burden of 40 years, 50 years of a lifetime of burden with you, emotional burden, it's hard for anyone to undo it in a year or in a month. And therefore, I just wish and hope that we see more people entering the arts without actually, it is difficult, without actually being threatened by the prospect of art, because I definitely hope that art makes inroads. Everyone's trying, but it's just that it's a two-way process. There are lots of artists that are actually trying to democratize the arts in many different ways, and it is my earnest hope that we see a lot of more young adults, children, taking up the arts in a small way, which actually will turn out into a rather meaningful way. And since I am basically a performer, I've been requested to perform a small dance number, and I will present that now. What I will be presenting right now is a Tamil Kirtana. It is a composition of Sri Gajendran, an eminent Tamil poet. It is inspired by several Telugu, Tamil and Sanskrit works of the Vaishnava Sampradayam, where it is, in the traditional literature, we find many works which praise the Lord's feet, which praise the Lord's hand, which praise the Lord's eyes, and therefore this is inspired by several poetry like the Paduka Sahasram, etc., which praise the feet of the Lord. So this poem describes the various exploits of Lord Krishna and Vishnu. That was Chinna Chinna Badan. The episodes described, I'm sure, were self-explanatory. And since it was mentioned that this is the final event for this year, I will conclude with a composition of Annamacharya again, which prays for auspiciousness and Mangalam.
మంగళము గోవిందునకు జయ మంగళము గరుత్వజునకు మంగళము సర్వాత్మకుడకు ధర్మస్వరూపునకు జయ జయ మంగళము గోవిందునకు జయ మంగళము గరుడధ్వజునకు మంగళము సర్వాత్మకుడకు ధర్మస్వరూపునకు జయ జయ మంగళము ఆదికి నాదైన దేవున కచ్చుతునక భోజనమున ఆది కూర్మంబైన జగదాకారమూర్తికి వేద రక్షకునకు సంతత వేద మార్గ విహారునకు వేద రక్షకునకు సంతత వేద మార్గ విహారునకు బలిబేరికి నీ సావారిగాన ప్రియ విహారునకు జయ జయ పంకజ సరవరునకు భవ పంకవిచ్చేదు భగునకు శంకరునకు వ్యక్తునకు ఆశ్చర్య రూపునకు వెంకటాచలవల్లభునకు విశ్వమూర్తికి నీశ్వరునకు వెంకటాచలవల్లభునకు విశ్వమూర్తికి నీశ్వరునకు పంకజ కుచ కుంభ కుంకుమ పంకలోనకు జయ జయ మంగళము గోవిందునకు జయ మంగళము ధ్వజునకు మంగళము సర్వాత్మకుడకు ధర్మస్వరూపునకు జయ జయ మంగళము జయ జయ మంగళము జయ జయ మంగళము జయ మంగళం
Thank you very much for being a patient audience, and I hope that the rest of the year is filled with happiness, joy and success.